Hello, this is Sarah with Posh Pooch Designs, and today's video I'm going to be showing you how to make this simple purple baby hat. I had someone ask me a few weeks ago if I had a pattern that was very simple that they could use for the Shaken Baby Syndrome project. And I said, I sure do. I had this pattern a few years ago. I never wrote it out. So this is a good opportunity to get it out there for you. It's a very simple hat pattern because when you're donating these purple hats, they don't want them to have any pom-poms, or you can put little bows and tiny things, but nothing that could be a distraction on the hat the babies can pull on. Now this hat comes in 5 sizes. This is the newborn size. We also have a 3 months, a 6 months, a 12 months, and a 24-month size hats on the pattern. It's super duper easy. You can whip a bunch of these up really fast. And I'll put that pattern link for that free pattern right down there underneath the video so you can go and check it for sizes. Now I made a little chart here, and this is the way the pattern will work. You've got newborn, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, 24 months. Here's your inches for the circumference of the hat, and here's your inches for the length of the hat. And what that means is the circumference is the round part of the hat, and the depth or the length is from crown to the front of the hat. So you'll want to reference that chart when you're making those hats. So what you need to make these purple hats. I've been making them out of Red Heart with Love, and I really like this yarn. Other yarns that you can use are Caron Simply Soft or any of the really, really soft worsted weight number 4 yarns. Now we're going to be stitching today with our eye hook, and our eye hook is our 5.5 millimeter hook. You're also going to need a needle because we're going to be gathering up the top of that hat, and you'll need a pair of scissors just to clip those yarns. And now remember, this is written for the Purple Hat Project, but you can make these hats in any colors that you want if you want to make them for your own grandkids or children, nieces and nephews. So, go gather up your materials and we'll get started. So here are all 5 of the sizes: newborn, 3 month, 6 month, 12 months, and 24 months. And this one is 12 inches, 13, 14, 15, and 16 inches around. Now the neat thing about the way this pattern is stitched is it's very stretchy. So for today's demonstration, we're going to be making the smallest size, and then I'll explain to you how to make the bigger sizes. And you're going to see this is a really easy pattern. And you'll be able to whip up a bunch of these in no time. All right, so we're going to be stitching, like I said, with our eye hook. And I've got my Red Heart with Love. You can also use Red Heart Soft. The one with the variegated, I figured someone would probably ask me. This one is Red Heart Soft. The lavender and the darker purple are Red Heart with Love, just so that you know if you're looking for those particular yarns. All right, so the way the pattern works is we're going to chain the number needed for the length of the hat. And on the pattern, if you're going to be making the infant size, you're going to need to chain 20. And then it goes up from there. The 3-month size, you'll need 22. The 6-month size, you'll need to chain 24. The 12-month size, you'll need to chain 26. And on the largest size, which is the 24-month size, you'll need to chain 28 chains. Because we're doing the newborn size for our demonstration, I'm going to chain 20 chains. So I'm going to begin first with my slip knot. And then I'm going to chain 20 chains. Now, when you're doing your beginning chain, don't chain tightly because we're going to be stitching the two ends together. And if you chain too tightly, it'll pucker on this end. If you find that you chain tightly, you'll probably want to go up a size in hook just for the beginning chain. I have chained my 20 chains because I'm demonstrating with the newborn size. And we're going to begin by stitching half double crochets in each chain across. We're going to skip this first chain and stitch our first half double crochet in the second chain from the hook. We're going to yarn over, go in that second chain, and pull up a loop. You will have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and go through all 3 of those loops. And this whole hat is basically stitched in half double crochets. So we're going to yarn over, go in the next chain, and stitch another half double crochet. And you're going to stitch 1 half double crochet in each chain across. If you change to a bigger hook to make your initial chain a little bit looser, make sure you have changed back to your eye hook to stitch the hat with. So we're going to stitch 1 half double crochet in each chain across. So you should have 19 half double crochets because we skipped the first chain and began stitching in the second chain from the hook. We're going to chain 1 at the end of this row, and the chain 1 does not count as a stitch. It's merely a turning chain so that when we turn our work, it lays nicely. Now we're going to be stitching half double crochets again, but we're going to be stitching them in the back loops. So you can see on the top of our half double crochets are the 2 chains or the braids where we have 2 loops. The way to find the front loop and the back loop is the front loop is the loop on the top that is always facing you. The back loop is the loop that is always facing away from you. And we're going to be stitching a row of half double crochets in the back loops of this row. So we're going to yarn over, we're going to go in just the back loop and stitch a half double crochet. And we're going to do this all the way across. Go in the back loop, pull up that loop, yarn over, and go through all 3. Just like we've been doing, only we're stitching only in the back loop. And what you're going to see is it will look like there's a braid laying right across the top underneath those 2 rows, between those 2 rows. And that's the look that we're going for. So we're going to stitch 1 half double crochet in each stitch across, working only in the back loops. This is the way your second row should look. We stitched in those back loops, and you can see there looks like a braid that is laying right on the top. When we get to the end of the row, we're going to chain 1, which I've already done, and turn, and we're going to repeat what we just did on row 2. We're going to place 1 half double crochet in the back loops of each of the half double crochets that we just stitched. And this is the way the remainder of the hat is stitched. 1 half double crochet in each half double crochet, working only in the back loops. And there's that braid again. It'll be on this side where it was on the back side on the previous row, and you'll see a little indentation there. And that's what gives us our stretchy texture. Here's a larger one that I made, and you can see where those braids are laying. And we have the indentation here, and it makes a nice stretchy hat. So what we're going to be doing is stitching 1/2 double crochet in each half double crochet, working in the back loops only for as many rows as needed for the size that we're making. All right, so let's talk about that for a second. So for the newborn size, you're going to need a total of 24 rows. For the 3-month size, you're going to need a total of 26 rows. For the 6-month size, you'll need a total of 28 rows. For the 12-month size, you'll need a total of 30 rows. And for the 24-month size, you'll need a total of 32 rows. You can see that I have repeated for 24 rows the half double crochet in the back loop only, 1 row across, chain 1, turn, half double crochet in each half double crochet, working in the back loop only, over and over again for 24 rows. When you get to the end of your 24 rows, don't tie off. What we're going to do is we're going to put the two ends together like this. And we're going to slip stitch across, stitching through both sides in order to make a tube. So I'm going to put my hook through that first stitch and through that first stitch on that side, and I'm going to pull that loop through. There we go, it kept getting stuck. Just going to make a chain 1 there just to hold that. And now we're going to stitch these together. All right, to stitch a slip stitch, we're going to be going through both thicknesses. We're going to pull that loop through, then we're going to pull that loop through the loop that's already on our hook. And we'll do this all the way across. And be sure and stitch just a little bit loose. And you can see here why we didn't want that first chain to be too tightly, because we want everything to line up nicely. And so we're going to go through both thicknesses, pull the loop through, and then that loop that we pulled through, we put it right through the one that's on our hook. And that's a slip stitch. And we'll do this all the way across, placing a slip stitch in each stitch, going through both sides, sewing up the side of the hat. There we go. And we'll do this all the way across. Be careful to keep it lined up, and also be careful not to stitch too tightly, because we want to keep our hat nice and stretchy. So we'll finish doing this the rest of the way up, and then I'll show you how to gather up the top of the hat. I finished slip stitching up the side of the hat, stitching both sides together. So now we have a tube. We're going to cut our yarn, but I want you to cut it at about 12 to 18 inches because we're going to use this piece to gather up the top of the hat. So we'll go ahead and tie that off and pull that string through. Okay, this is just the extra string, and we can weave that in later. So what we need to do now is gather up the top of the hat. So we're going to take our needle, and we're going to put that thread in our needle. And now we're going to gather up the top of the hat. And I like to just take and make a couple of stitches right where I started, just to make sure that it's going to stay secure. Get that other little string out of the way there. There we go. All right, so now we're going to go in and out right on the edge of the hat, like that, making stitches right along the top edge of the hat, trying not to go down too far. And you can see it's already gently pulling in. We want to try to stay pretty close to the top along those sides of the stitches. And we just keep gathering till we get right back where we started, just in and out. I would say about 1/2 inch stitches. Alright, so now I'm back where I started. I'm going to take the hat and kind of make it into a little bit of a tube there and give it a nice gentle pull. Don't pull too hard, you don't want to break your yarn. And then I'm going to make a couple of stitches right where I started again and snug that down just a little bit. Don't pull too hard. I'm going to take a look at it, and you can see there's still a little bit of a hole there. And I always like to just go around again. So I'm going to make a couple of stitches again where I started, just so it doesn't come out. And then I'm going to go around those edges again, because I want that hole to be nice and closed and all tidied up. There we go. And we'll just pull on it again, make sure it's nice and closed, and make a few stitches. There we go. So it's not going to come out. And I might cross across a few. I just want to make sure that it's going to hold. And clip that off. Now we can flip our hat over. And this is a tiny little hat for a tiny little head. And that's how you do it. You do all the sizes exactly the same, only you start with more chains and you do more rows for width. The chain is your length, the rows is your width. So this is our purple baby hat crochet pattern. Now if you'd like more information on the Shaken Baby Syndrome project with the purple hats, that link that has the free crochet pattern also has a blog link where you can find more information, what they're looking for, what you can and can't do, and just guidelines for you to follow, as well as where to send them when you make them.